And welcome to today's episode on the Moving from Fear to Trust podcast series. Today I'm joined by Lena, who is a coach, an intuitive, and has a wonderful holistic living blog and also teaches dance in schools. And she is many, many more things. So I can't wait to introduce you to her. And this is going to be an amazing conversation. So thank you so much, Lena, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So we've been connected on Facebook for a while now, and we just totally have the same journey and, you know, the same resonance on like what we're actually working with in terms of coming out of that old paradigm of fear.
Yes.
And having this conversation right now with the whole pandemic that's going through the world, I think it's just such a timely place to have this conversation around like fear and being able to move into this new paradigm that we're here to create. And but I'd love to hear, like, how did you first like awaken to who you are, and what was that like for you?
Oh wow, so that's been quite a while ago actually. 2011 was when I really awakened, and I was still in uni at the time and I had no idea what was happening, but I knew there was like something else out there and that I was probably not looking in the right places. And then I had like a first like crisis, and I really had to work through my depression and my anxieties. And then that actually was quite a swift experience. So I worked through it quickly so that I could come into my purpose. And and then from then on, you know, there's always things that come up and you work through it, and just as you go along. Yeah.
Amazing. That's actually similar to me. Well, mine was around 2010. And 2011. Then I was just like, okay, I'm not here to, you know. Before I was training as an occupational therapist. I was in university in Manchester, and then my own health crisis happened.
Right.
And then that brought me onto the path that I'm on today. And it's so interesting though, like when you are in a crisis, that
it's a catalyst.
It's a massive catalyst, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually, what I don't know if you've had thoughts like this, but this past 2 weeks, like with everything that's happening, I've been feeling like it's like a healing crisis for the planet right now.
Yes, absolutely.
I was just like, oh my gosh, like what I'm seeing in everyone. Oh, you know, they're all panicking. I was like that when I was in that place myself.
Yeah.
Like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps people to turn inside and like to just be disconnected from the outside world, because that's what I'm hearing from people that are, you know, doing the 9-to-5 jobs, and now they're just at home and they're just like in a timeout zone so they can, you know, go deeper and find deeper truths.
So it's a huge opportunity, I feel, for, you know, this time that we can actually break away from that old paradigm. Like on a collective level.
Yes, fully.
Yeah.
And also I feel we kind of felt the world changing last year. Like I didn't actually expect it to be so soon that something like physical like this would happen. But like it seemed to become necessary that this needs to break away so that we can be even more free in our expression to create the new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can't create with old systems. They need to be out of the way so we can build.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And how long have you been kind of like working on that path of like expressing yourself and, you know, like obviously like putting out your work and your blog, and how long has that been for you?
I have started working with clients probably 5 years ago, and that was just one part of what I wanted to do. And I kind of quickly realized, oh, this is not all of it. And then I noticed that there was still so many things that I would like to do creatively and put out there, but I needed some time and also courage to do that. To be seen. I think that was the big thing. I was afraid to be seen.
So can you talk to that? Because I know a lot of the listeners that are going to be watching this episode are in that place of being afraid to be seen. Like, what would you say to them, like from like your experience of what that's like to just move into it and step into it?
Yeah, it can be very daunting in the beginning. how I love to look at it is that everybody that is looking at you is actually just yourself. And that helped me massively. So
Yeah.
whenever I was expressing myself, I was just pretending I would just do it in front of myself.
Yeah.
And everything that they would say would be something that I would be going on inside of me too.
Yeah.
And that really helped me to kind of just let loose and to be out there, because there's really nothing to be afraid of, or you're afraid of yourself, but you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes no sense.
I love that. Yeah. But it's almost like the greater part of you, the smaller part of you is afraid of that because it's not sure. It's like, it's the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now, that fear of the unknown is very present. And I think that's so connected to the feminine, because the feminine, truly the deeply feminine, is unknown.
Yeah.
And the journey that we are now birthing, this new reality, it's just a process where we have to surrender and we can't have control. So yeah, it's massive. So we're moving into the feminine expression even more.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like from even listening to you and just hearing that part of your journey, like it's so similar to mine. It's like we have been trained and initiated so that we can actually have the space within us now to actually hold it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And
like,
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful exploration.
It is. It's so exciting though, because it's like so much potential can come through. That's so much more than what we've previously experienced.
Yeah.
Like beyond.
Yeah. And it's freed up massive resources as well, because the whole world is sort of offline. And we are just in that space now, condensed, and we can like look at each other and ourselves, and it shows us different things, things that now we can, explore deeper.
Yeah. Something that I was discovering this week on a much deeper level was just about fruit. And I know I follow your stories all the time. I absolutely love like what you share. It's just so beautiful.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, what's Lena doing? And it just always just gives me so much like encouragement.
Yeah, same for me as well when I see your posts.
Yeah, it's like, woo, let's keep going.
Yeah.
But I think that question, and we just said that before we started recording, and it's something that a lot of people are, I suppose, having maybe struggles with, or there's a lot of programming around, and that's around like the fruit. And that's something that I've just been really deepening myself into, because I was like why are we so like resistant to that? I'd love to hear like your experience of like how you started bringing more fruits into your life, and just the way that you eat obviously is a very high vibrational way. So I'd love to hear your journey with that.
So I was a vegetarian for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really enjoy eating dairy products anymore, because they always made me feel heavy.
Yeah.
And so I just started, actually, I had a little health crisis there, yeah. So I always had like, my eyes were always irritated and I didn't know why. And then I just started experimenting with food. And then I left some stuff out, and then I incorporated more fruit and vegetables, and it just resolved super quickly.
Yeah.
And also like having like stomach issues or like digestive stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, I think it was all due to like dairy consumption and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I just slowly kind of progressed into this diet, like mainly fruit, vegetables. I love like legumes, beans. Yeah. And it just makes me feel the best.
Yeah.
Like, so for the last few days, we had no fruit left.
Yeah.
And no veggies. And my body was literally shouting at me, like, eat some salad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was surprised how much our bodies actually tell us what to eat. We do it so intuitively that we don't realize actually that these are messages that are coming through all the time.
Yeah, I love that. Because I think it is, and it is like getting to that place of connection with your body is that feminine, you know, that feminine expression that's always there, but we've been so separated from it for so long.
Yeah.
You know, that we've just been in the head, and we've just been really just looking at everything through like what we've been conditioned to do, or to eat, or to whatever.
It's hard to break away from that.
Yeah.
So I always tell people to just do step by step.
Yeah.
And don't go like from one day to the next and just like completely force it, but your body will always tell you what the next step is. So just follow that intuition and follow those feelings and prompts.
Yeah, I love that, because it is like you are completely adjusting your whole energy system. You know, and I was listening to this lady during the week. Her name's Alex Cousins, and she's in Bali at the moment. And what she was saying was a really interesting point around how we've been like used to getting our energy from like stimulants like coffee, or, you know, like even meat is very stimulating, all these things. But actually the process of coming into like the plant-based eating is that you're actually getting your energy source from yourself and like source.
Yeah.
So that's why it can't just be an overnight process. It has to be a gradual journey. You can't jump into it, because your body would just short circuit.
Yeah. But it's the best thing once you are fully transitioned and you have this wonderful connection with your body. And I love honoring that as well. Like every morning, I ask my body, and even before I go to sleep, I tell my body, just let me know what you need. And then sometimes I even have a dream. So I dreamt about sea moss not too long ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I ordered some now. We'll make some gel and then put it in movies and stuff. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. That's amazing. And I love that, because it's really simplifying it down to the point of like, there's so much noise out there. It's like just being able to get still and quiet with ourselves and ask that question and just feel into it. What's the next piece that I need for this journey? So it's not like a case of like, oh, I have to rush this to fix myself. It's more of a case of like, I'm curious because I'm discovering who I am through it. Yeah, I love that. That's so empowering, isn't it? As opposed to, I need to do it all now. And that's where I used to be. Like when I started off, I was like, something wrong with me, I feel terrible, I need to fix it. I need to take all the things, you know. I'm going off to the health food store, buying all the vegetables or whatever, trying. Whereas like now, obviously, when you go deeper into it, it's not coming from that place of trying to fix yourself.
Yeah. Did you also find it quite difficult to not become too extreme in the beginning?
Oh yeah. I went very hardcore at the beginning. Yeah, militant. You know, just like. But I think when I look back, it was like that extremeness, in a way. Yeah, it was like two ways. I think it was because I was so desperate to feel better, and I was like that extreme. But also, it was done through a place of like fear in my body. I didn't have trust in my body, and I definitely didn't trust the process. You know, I was like, I want to feel better now. You know, so yeah, I think that's really important for people to just like slow down into where they are. And I think that's where for me, like the whole spiritual journey opened up, because that was the natural next progression of working the physical body. So I'd love to hear like your experience of like how that opened up. And
so I found really interesting how, so in terms of diet and food, how that would affect me on an emotional level and on energetic levels. So even with fruit, sometimes I try to buy organic, but sometimes it's not possible. But even with organic, I can still feel the energies that it was in contact with. And so food has become like a whole experience. Like you take it all into your body. And I think becoming very kind of conscious of what you ingest that's really kind of made me more aware in general of what I consume as well. So the process is always the same. Like if it's eating something, or if it's reading something, or entertaining yourself in any other way, we are always consuming something. And what do you actually want to be consuming? What do you want to take in and nourish you with?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that really comes back to the whole notion of like becoming a co-creator of your reality, and how that means like full responsibility on what you're taking in.
Yeah, especially now as well,
Yeah.
like the conscious decision to switch the noise off and distance yourself from the chaos of the masses, and just focus on what you want to create, and how do you see the world changing, and how does it look like, and just, you know, keep that vision strongly.
Absolutely. I love that. And what kind of like practices that would help you to stay like aligned with your vision? What are the type of things that you do?
I love to do vision boards. So I love to always start fresh. So I never really go back to an old idea much. So because I feel like we change all the time. We're so fluid in how we, you know, evolve as well, and how our ideas evolve. So I love to start fresh and just go with what inspires me, and that can change. But it's always kind of like the same base. It's always the same base.
Yeah.
And you don't need to write that down. You just know what that is. And then as you write it down, you will see, oh, wow, there's a thread. And then you can bring in new things.
Yeah.
And I also love to find places where I can be still. We have a really nice garden in the new flat, and it's so inspirational to just fill your eyes with beauty and nature. And that does so much for me.
Yeah, it's like the best feel, because just before we came on here today, I was out walking this morning by the sea, and it was just so beautiful. And I was just like, you know, walking past like the swans, then we're on the canal, and I was just like, you're so beautiful. And I was just like I was really drinking it in.
Yeah.
No, like it wasn't just like this kind of, I'm rushing through it to just get my walk done.
Yeah.
I was actually like, I need to actually breathe all this into me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. So beautiful. And I think all of this comes with that slow-paced life.
Yeah.
That we are like, we are pretty much free to live now, because especially in these times, we have time now.
Yeah.
And we don't need to rush anywhere. We can really express that feminine life living.
I love that. But also, as you say that, it's kind of like for me anyway, this is something that I want to create going forward, like this like slower pace, intentional slower pace.
Yeah.
So then it's like when you're doing your work or whatever tasks you're involved in, you can do them on a much deeper level.
Yes.
You know, as opposed to just like skimming through everything.
Yeah.
And not really getting to those depths with what you're doing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, those steps are the richest places.
Yeah. But the fear and the resistance to that, I think, is just because people have been cut off from it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So what would you kind of say to that, like just being able to be more comfortable with the depth of the feminine?
It's definitely a journey, especially I was thinking about this. So this whole birthing process that we are currently in is deeply feminine and deeply unknown to us, really. It can be unpredictable. We just don't know. We're not in control.
Yeah.
But it's the most natural thing there is as well. And it works. So, and I think if we can always let go and like feel that sweet surrender and come back to the feeling that we're taken care of. I've had so many moments last week, like small things that happened, and I was just shown that I'm being taken care of. I'm carried if I trust.
Yeah. I love that. And it's so interesting because I've had that where I'm kind of jumping into things and I don't know what is going to be the outcome. But I just say to myself, just trust it, like just trust that whatever will need to be there will be there.
Yes.
And it's like, and it does over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to, like, as you're saying there, you know, like what different experiences that you had that like last week, it's like you almost need to gather those as evidence
Yeah.
for yourself, like, because I think it's like I have like a trust bank account, you know, where I'm like lodging in the experiences where I've done something scary or I've taken something, you know, taking a leap into the unknown, and then this happened. It's like if you can build on that, that
Yeah.
just helps like your mind and your nervous system to go, oh, you know, you've done this
It's
before.
safe. Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Definitely. That is a really good practice
Yeah,
to
that's
have.
that's something that's really, because I think when you are in the unknown, you have to be able to support yourself with lots of tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in
I
terms, I know
think,
you're saying about vision boards, but are there any other like tools that you love to use with being in the unknown?
um, I love to connect to the earth these days as well.
Yeah.
So just to sit on the earth and just connect with her. And me and my partner, not so long ago, actually, we had a really beautiful moment where we were kind of talking about this, but we didn't know that this was gonna come to pass. And we were just talking about the planet and the earth. And we both at the same time felt into her frequency, and we were just so moved, and like the love was so overwhelming. And I think if we can take inspiration from her, that is really supportive as well.
I love that. And that's something that, like, no matter what's happening, like in the material world, I'm just looking out now in my garden. It's like you can see like nature is always there
Mm-hmm.
with you and holding you and connecting to you.
Yeah.
So it's almost like getting the connection from there, as opposed to these events that are always like in a state of flux and change, and you know,
Yeah.
things can happen.
And truly in nature we can see that things never really, they might destruct, but they live again, like in different ways and forms. So
Yeah.
if we can witness that and just apply it as well for ourselves, that is.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, the season of, say, winter, when everything dies away,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like trusting that that will reemerge as spring.
Yeah.
And it's like, as that's a constant truth, like the cycles of existence of nature are what's real. So if you can trust that, then you can trust what's happening for you as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that reminds me of like my own experience. Like my mom, she passed away the 10th of May 2018 now, so almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, it's been a journey of me being able to like trust that even though I saw her die and her physical body, that like that was just a part of her leaving that form.
Yeah.
Like that her journey is continuing, and trusting that has transformed my whole experience with grief, and
Yeah.
just the whole separation between life and death. And yeah, it's been amazing for me to see like it's not the end, you know.
Yeah.
And even just before she passed away, like she was in the hospital, and like she had said to me, I'm an eternal being, you know. And she was kind of like not like in her right mind, say, she wasn't like talking like coherently at that time, but she gave me that message. It was like, this is going to happen now, but you're going to trust this process, and you're going to learn to trust your greatest fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is this how your whole moving from fear to trust was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was funny because it was in summer of 2017. My mom and I sat down, and we were like, what are we here to do? Like, what are we actually here for the earth? Like, what's our role? What's our message? And we both came to it at the same time, that it was like, you're here to help people move from fear to trust. So then we just were like, okay, we're just going to focus on that. So we were like, you know, doing lots of writing and lots of creating.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of months later, this is what happened, you know, with her. She got unwell. She had a seizure. She went into a coma for 3 months, and then, you know, she physically passed. And I was plummeted into like the depths of fear, you know.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, yeah, it's like I wouldn't have, I don't know, that was our journey to have together. But then I was shown by all these amazing people that entered my life, your mom's not gone. You know, it was like I was just shown over and over again. And then a lady that I met, who's my book mentor now, who's helping me with the book writing.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, oh, you know, I'm here to help you, and you're writing this book with your mom. You know, you're here and your mom's over there.
Yeah.
But you're still together, and you're still on this journey together.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. So it's just to show, I think, to demonstrate it, like there isn't separation.
Yeah.
But our senses perceive it as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, you know, for all of us, like we've all been given different areas to dissolve, those areas of separation. And I think that's really just like trusting that whatever wants to come through you is going to come through you. And you have, like, we all have our unique part to play in that.
Yes, very true.
But I even feel like having this conversation with you, I just feel like so strengthened in this new, I just feel like so grounded in it. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so nice. And it's like this time is really bringing all of us like-minded people so much closer together, because it's really about, we are all on the same page. We were all on the same page probably before, but we didn't really see it like this. And now we're like, oh, we're all here together now, and we have this amazing opportunity to build something new together.
Yeah,
it's all about community as well.
Yeah, and it is that feminine, like, you know, that collaboration and community, and like being cooperative with each other, as opposed to like that kind of, I suppose in the kind of masculine paradigm, it's very much like we're separate, we're like on our own, we, you know, it's in competition, or, you know, any of those kind of like separation ways of being, which has been, you know, I think a lot of trauma as well within us, you know, a lot of like residue of that also needs to be like healed and cleared. And but I think it's like creating new experiences with each other is actually the thing that like changes that.
Definitely. Putting it into practice and actually expressing it and experiencing it. But I'm still like, up to this day, so moved sometimes about the sisters that I meet, just like you as well, and which I'm just like, this feels so normal and natural, but it was not part of my life for so long.
I know. Totally.
And this is totally how it was meant to be. You can just feel it in with every fiber of your being.
It's so natural.
But
it's like, we've how would I say, because a lot of us have, you know, we've been like in our individual spaces for so long, just doing it, just figuring it out, and now it's just like, okay, now you can actually be fully supported by people who are going to hold you in this like new frequency and in this new way of being, that it's just going to be so much easier and so much more graceful.
And also the way that we've maybe started to see ourselves in a different way now allows us to see each other in that way too. So what we've practiced with ourselves, we can now, it's just being mirrored back to us.
That's so interesting. It's quite the process though, isn't it?
It is. Totally is.
So what kind of things are coming up for you in terms of like your expression now? And like, I know that this space is being created, and, you know, obviously I know you were doing like lots of school projects, and
all of this is cancelled,
so
which is crazy. And it's also only always from March till June. So it's exactly the months. If this had happened half a year earlier, I wouldn't be affected, but so now everything is basically postponed or cancelled, but there's nothing to do in terms of the projects right now, which is interesting because it also freed up a lot of time and space to refocus. And it's a nice time to shift focus and you know, create something completely new maybe.
I love that. But also it's almost like you can bring those elements of like the dance and everything into like that new creation as well. You know, it's like it's bringing what we've had before and bringing it forward into like these new expressions of it.
Yes, definitely.
Because I feel like, for me anyway, I just feel, you know, there's going to be people that are out there that need to hear our work and our messages, and it's like the more that you can step into that, like whatever is like your blueprint, it's like it's there. And it's like the more that you can just like step into that on a much more expanded level now than you had previous. I don't know, like even though I can't see it all yet, I can feel it. That it's there. Like, okay, what's the next action I need to take to like bring it into form?
And it's so nice because it's there and you can feel it, it's there, and you're like, you're like a child and you're like, oh, what's the next thing I can do? And you have this like sense of adventure and like fun.
Yeah.
And I think because now there's no pressure whatsoever from society. I mean, it's always an illusion of pressure that, you know, we sometimes feel.
Yeah.
But that's completely offline. So we can just be led by our like joy and fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. And actually like designing it in the way that like feels best to you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Isn't it? I love that, because like before it was like, you know, I could never fit into that, like that, you know, that 9 to 5 model, or, you know, that kind of, because I'd be like, oh, I need to go for a walk or whatever. And I'd be like, I can't box myself in to just be like that way. So I think now it's like the space is here to just go, oh, I can actually create this in a way that actually like suits my energy and suits the way I am, and I can, like, it's up to me to design it now. There's nobody going to come in and give you the hand you the manual. It's like,
exactly,
you have to shape it yourself.
Yeah. And this has really kind of shown me that I was quite not really focused on what everybody else was doing, but sometimes, especially in like the business stuff that I was doing, I was really kind of sometimes looking at how did this person do it, or how is it being done.
Yeah.
And obviously because the school project, that is kind of like a system project, so yeah, it wasn't easy to just listen to myself. And now there is no other way, because that's out of the way.
Yeah, love that. And that's like coming back to like creating from within, isn't it, as opposed to creating from without, and like, oh, I have to do it like this way because XYZ person does it that way. And it's like, no, actually coming from your own self now.
And like that conviction and that feeling that only you know the next step. Only you. That is so powerful.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that you know, before, when I was starting to practice with clients, I used to feel like I had to do everything for them. Whereas now it's very much like it's creating the space for them to do it, like own it themselves, and like reconnect and tune back in. That's really the most powerful and most empowering way to do it, instead of having people like depending on outside experts, like an outside person from them. It's like really the journey of like redirecting
them to themselves. And that is like the best feeling as like a coach or like a nutrition person like you, to witness how people are stepping into that. I find that the most amazing thing, when people say they feel empowered. And
it's beautiful. So any other thoughts on moving from fear to trust for everyone listening?
No, I think we've covered, and we've this was a really nice conversation about moving from fear to trust.
So let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on my website, www.thevisionarygoddess.com. So you can see my blog, you can see my services, and I'm always happy to connect. So love to hear from you.
Oh, thank you so much, Lena. It's been a total pleasure, and I've absolutely loved this conversation with you, and I can't wait to share it. And
so happy.
I can't wait to connect with you in person at some stage as well.
Yes, definitely. I was meant to come to Ireland this year in spring, but the whole world had other plans.
Exactly. And in another timeline.
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
So excited.